Moving is always a challenge, no matter whether you are a new college student who's moving into a dorm or a parent of 3 children. It doesn't matter if you're moving across the country or across the world or just across town. It's always a challenge, and you always realize that you have a lot more stuff than you thought you did. It doesn't look like so much when it's around your house, but when you have to put it all in boxes, it really adds up fast. But I am by no means a minimalist, and I don't really want to be either. I enjoy my stuff, and it comes in handy, even if you think you're not using it. Eventually, you'll use it again. So, it's time to pack, time to move, and it's gonna take a while. This time, we're not trying to do it real fast. We're kind of going to take the slow road and get it done a bit at a time, day by day, over the course of a month. We're not moving across the country, just across the county, which is far enough. For now, anyway. Who knows? This may be our forever home, or we might buy something later with more land. We may end up renting it and traveling. We'll just have to wait and see. One of the hardest things about moving, I think, is probably deciding what order to move things in. Which things are you not going to need in the amount of time that it's going to be packed? Which things are you going to need here? Which things are you going to need there? When are you actually going to leave the house? Like, if you're doing it in stages, there's one day where you move. The beds are gone and you're sleeping in the new place. And deciding when to do that is difficult. I decided this time to go ahead and take all the frames to the house and then take the beds later. That way it'd be halfway done. But like I said, everything is a process. And when you have lots of little helpers, sometimes that process takes longer than it should. But they're sweet, and this is their life too. And they're moving to a new house. And they're excited. Just as excited as we are. Maybe more excited. Our kids have always had a very strong grasp on the concept that this is not our house. And they've been waiting and waiting and waiting for our house. A house where we can paint the walls if we want to. A house where we can have a cat or a dog or chickens. Places where they have the security of knowing that it's our house. And they're very excited about that. But just because they're excited doesn't mean that the transition isn't still on the difficult side. It is still a transition, and it does take getting used to. And part of my job is keeping these little guys feeling safe and comfortable and, at home. They need their space where they can have their stuff, where they have their beds and their toys. So, even though all the beds are on the floors, which was actually quite a fun trampoline room for a while, they still needed to be comfy. They still needed all their blankets and their pillows, all their babies. Try and keep things as consistent as possible for them, even though we have a big change coming into our lives. And that change, is good, but consistency is still important. Moving takes so many forms, and sometimes when you're packing, you've got all your boxes prepared and you've got everything organized in the boxes, and they're packed nicely and neatly, and you write on the sides, what's in it, so that when you need to find it, you know where it is. And you feel like an accomplished adult packing things properly. You have everything taped and sealed. No boxes are going to break when you pick them up. And have them all in nice, pretty stacks ready to be loaded up and moved. But that's not always the form that moving takes. That's the best form. It's the nicest form. It's the easiest and most beautiful. But sometimes packing looks like this. A room full of junk that isn't really junk, but you kind of wish it was, because it'd be so much easier to just throw it all in the trash and not have to think about it. But there's lots of important stuff in this junk room, and it has to be sorted and packed. But when the beds go, that's when things change. And when the rooms are empty, it's when you start to realize that this isn't home anymore. And that's okay. There's a time and a season for everything. And the time now is to move on and start fresh and dream bigger than ever. So, time to say goodbye to this place. We'll always remember it and the lessons we learned here. And now it's time to start over. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and stay tuned for all the exciting adventures ahead.